Donny's picked up a baby and ran.
Jon North, he's the champ.
Ain't no cream in my coffee, baby! I got that Shankle blood!
He's got more energy than one man should ever have.
Welcome back to the Breast Group Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Grant. Along with me, as always, my co-host, my road dog, Mark Gwynn. Today, we have a very special guest. This man cannot be replicated or cloned in any way. We have the one, the only, the jump man, Jonathan North, everybody. Give it up for Jonathan North.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on, man. I'm pumped to be here.
I'm pumped to have you, man. I want to get started kind of with you and your kind of origin story. You are an amazing weightlifter who had an amazing presence, especially on the internet. That's how I discovered you. But how did you even discover weightlifting? What was your life like before, and what kind of happened and what transpired from that?
Yeah. And it's nice to meet you, Dylan and Mark. And again, thanks for having me on. You guys are awesome. This is fun. I've already had a Bang energy drink, and yeah, look at the coffee. What do you got, Mark? What are you rolling with over there?
A little H2O. That's
water. Okay.
The energy came right there.
You're off my MySpace now. You're off my top 10. Okay. And some coffee. Shout out to C&K, drinking some coffee here. So
shout out C&K for sure.
Doing the double whammy. Man, I found the sport. I found the sport of weightlifting through football. Wow. And strength and conditioning. Yeah, my football coach, Coach Tim Frisbee, I just loved the weight room. Ever since I watched Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger, I just fell in love with the weight room and the barbell. And so kind of got into bodybuilding and just loved chasing the pump and lifting weights. And in football, I kind of fell in love with the weight room more than the football field. And this was in college. So I got bit by the weightlifting bug, but it was space lifting at the time, right? And not the sport of weightlifting, because I didn't know what the sport was at that time. I just weight training is a better way to put it, right?
Got it.
Because if you break up the weight in the lifting, it's not the sport of weightlifting. It's just weight training. So I love doing like the power cleans and the power snatches and also the full lifts. I was really blessed to have a strength coach that did a lot of the full lifts, and he loved Olympic weightlifting. He knew a lot about it, which was great. And the squatting and even the benching, everything we did, man. I was just basically a gym rat, And after I graduated with my associate's degree at College of the Siskiyous in Weed, California, I just didn't know what to do with my life. And then my strength coach said, "Hey, John, I know that you love the gym and you love the two lifts. And I know the head weightlifting coach at Sac State. He linked us up, and, it all started at Sac State. He basically just dropped me off in Sacramento and just left me there with my bags next to me.
Oh, my God.
I was just at the front door of the gym in Sacramento, that was it, and then Ben Claridad took me under his wing, and now I'm talking to you guys about 16 years later. So I just fell in love with the gym, man. That's it. All things gym, all things barbell. My path could have very easily went powerlifting.
Okay.
Right. My path could have very easily went bodybuilding or strongman or whatever. It just so happened to be my strength coach said, "I know the Olympic weightlifting coach at Sac State. I'm going to drop your ass off and you're going to go do that."
Damn.
And so my path led to weightlifting.
True. I want to know a little short tidbit. True or false? You got a phone call from Donny Shankle inviting you to train with him, and you dropped everything you were doing. I think you dropped out of college maybe and went to join him. Is that true? Yeah,
I dropped out of college. Yeah, he not a phone call, but we met at a weightlifting competition. And I was at a real weird time in my life because I was basically flunking out of school. I kept getting kicked out of Sac State for bad grades.
Yeah.
So I'd get kicked out of Sac State because I was failing it. I was flunking it. So then I had to go to a community college to get like my grades up to get back into Sac State. And I did this 2 times. So I kept getting kicked out of the school. Mm-hmm. I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up too. Like, I don't even know why I was in college. I had zero idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
I just knew that I was a gym rat at that time. All I cared about was training. Sac State was like, "Hey, you're out of here." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." As long as I have the barbell, I'm fine. I don't go rat's ass. And so at that point in time, though, we were so broke and I was kind of lost, and I didn't even really have a huge direction in weightlifting because I was just kind of a leaf in the wind. And I was actually going to do the police academy and be a police officer. I even registered for the police academy and everything. And I was like, well, I'll still lift, but like I need to figure out what I'm going to do for a career. And then I met Donny at a local meet, and he was like, brother, come train with me at Cal Strength. And I was like, okay. So
before you continue, can you tell these guys a little bit about the infamous Donny Shankle? Because some people I definitely know listening to this podcast, some have no idea. How would you describe him?
You know, he's stoic, like the lion killer. You know, he's one of the greatest American weightlifters to ever live. You know, just a legend in the game. And when he invited me to come train with him, I said, yeah. At that time, I was actually back into Sac State, trying to make another run at not flunking out. And I even had a job, a little part-time job. And when he invited me to go train, I quit my job because they wouldn't let me go train with him. They were like, no, you can't go train. This was actually a 24-hour fitness. I was a membership counselor. And I was like, no, I have to go to this training session. Like, I don't think you understand. This is Donny Shankle. When Donny Shankle invites you to go train somewhere, you don't say no. And they were like, John, we don't care about this Donny guy. We don't even know who he is, of course. And I was like, all right, well, I quit. So I just quit, and then I dropped out of college and then just trained full time.
I think a lot of people, especially young people, when they're in college, they struggle with what they want to do and who they want to become, right? So I kind of had a similar thing where I was in school for something and it wasn't going great and I didn't really love it. And then I completely switched and wanted to go to school for filmmaking, but I thought the money didn't justify what you learned. So now me and Mark have kind of created our own school here where we get people on who inspire us and we learn things from, like yourself. And then we kind of take it. And then the most important part is we go and we do. We fucking do, John.
I like that. So this is not a weightlifting podcast or a CrossFit podcast.
Not specifically, no.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Oh, so yeah, that's why you're probably asking the listeners like to explain more a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
I didn't assume that. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah.
No. So
that's cool, man. That's cool that you guys. Well, look, there's doors of opportunity to. Well, I'm a movie buff, by the way, so I want to talk movies with you later, and you and Mark. But Quentin Tarantino never went to school. He actually dropped out of middle school, and his knowledge of movies was working at a movie store. And he went his own path as far as, you know, who he is today. And you can. That's just one example out of a million of, especially with technology today, you can do it without being $300,000 in debt.
Yes, that's the point I'm trying to make, and that's the point I think you did without any real schooling to back up what you're actually pursuing and what you've been successful in. And that's so a little bit of my background. I was in the gym for coaching for 11 years. And then I thought I would regret it if I didn't go for kind of filmmaking, what I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. So that's kind of my back. I've kind of leaving the gym now. That's why I looked at you so highly when I was in the gym. And now I'm kind of making that transition because a lot of stuff I learned in the gym, I'm taking with me. That work ethic is still there, right?
Yeah.
You learn how to work hard and with the barbell on your back. But yeah, that's kind of why I wanted you on, because you inspired me, even though I'm not even pursuing that anymore.
No, I appreciate it, man. Much love. That's awesome. And congrats on your endeavor. I'm glad that you're going through it. You're going for it. You know, you got to just bust the door down and go for it, man.
Yeah. So you meet up with Johnny. You meet up with Donny, and you go to Cal Strength. How was Cal Strength?
Cal Strength was wild, man. It was a different world than I've ever seen before.
It's the boom Cal Strength. This is where it all happened, baby.
when you're the Shankle, that can happen. That's a Donny Shankle fist pump, baby. Fuck you.
It was hard training.
How often did you guys train?
Oh, all day.
Fuck.
Yeah. It's interesting. Back then there was no sessions. It was like, oh, okay, this is my time session, or even double days. I have this and this. We literally just trained from 8 a.m. till about 7 p.m. every day. It just went on all day. There was no sessions. It just was, we lifted, we smoked cigarettes, we lifted, we smoked cigarettes, we lifted, we ate KFC, we lifted, we smoked cigarettes, we went to Taco Bell, we lifted, we went to Chipotle. Someone brought food, we got massages, we went to see Kelly Starrett. We were spoiled rotten. I mean, we were professional athletes, and if anybody's sitting back going like, how could you do that as a weightlifter? Well, we were professional weightlifters. We had, we were taken care of, and I that's why I give a lot of credit to a lot of people. It takes a village. I can't sit here and be like, oh, I'm national champion. No, I'm not national champion. We are. It's a team aspect in an individual sport. We had supplement sponsorships. We were given money. We were taken care of. We were put up in apartments. We got worked on by the best people in the industry. All of our meets were taken care of, travel, etc. We didn't have to worry. We didn't have to work. Our job was to just lift weights and perform. Now, if we weren't performing in the gym, we got dock pay and we got in trouble, and it was not good. But it was an all day endeavor.
Yeah. So I kind of discovered you through CrossFit, and then that led to weightlifting, obviously. We used to watch you, no joke, probably twice a day before every session, because we were training twice a day at the time.
Yeah.
And there was about 5 of us that were doing this CrossFit weightlifting program for about 6 months. And 3 of the 4 of us ended up getting hurt. But before every lifting session, Jon North would be on the TV and we would fucking go nuts. It just took us to that next level. Yeah. And especially my friend Brandon, I remember him specifically. I coached a class and then he was still finishing his lifts. And so there's a class waiting to come on. He's slamming bars and shit. And he literally yells the word intensity, which is, I've never seen it before. I've never seen it since. But instead of like being intense and yelling, he just yelled intensity. And some girl named Jen like looked at me. She's like, did he just yell intensity? I was just like, let him lift. Just let him do his thing. But yes, you're right. So yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. It does. I love that.
All right, John. So let's talk about that a little bit. You being a different animal. The only guy I can think of is Ronnie Coleman to compare it to, with all the shouting, the enthusiasm and shit. Where does that come from?
Ronnie Coleman's my guy, by the way. I grew up watching Ronnie Coleman videos, man. I love Ronnie Coleman. Yeah, buddy. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Ain't nothing but a peanut. I told someone we were doing Ronnie Coleman quotes the other day, and this was actually just the other day. It's funny you mentioned this. And I go, okay, I'm gonna throw one out they might never heard. I go, masterpiece barbecue sauce. Best barbecue sauce ever made. And that's in his YouTube video where he's making grits in his kitchen.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Or he's making a bunch of chicken. He's like, masterpiece barbecue sauce. Best barbecue sauce ever made.
Masterpiece barbecue sauce. Best barbecue sauce they make.
That's one of my favorites. I don't know. I don't know. It's insecurity. I tell people, fear. That's where that comes from. Because, just depression, just me, just being a human, man, just being unsure of myself and unconfident. So I think that's, where it comes from, is I kind of create this monster, this character that is none of those things.
Right.
at the time on the platform with the bar of this character that is just some crazy guy that just attacks the barbell. And, so I have to yell and get crazy just because it takes away that fear, that insecurity. That's why if I lift calm and collect, I don't do as well. And I feel like I've found a little bit of more of a balance these days, 16 years in, being 35, being, a father of two and, a family man. I've been through a lot in life and matured. So I'm not as crazy as I used to be, of course, but I found kind of more of a healthy balance with being a little more focused and calm, but also still having that kind of rage in me. So I think that's just kind of where it comes from.
I think a lot of it is just passion, though. Also, like, I think if someone sees you once, like a video from back in the day once, maybe they think it's cocky or arrogance. I could see how it would rub them that way. But the more you learn about you or watch you, it's just like, it's extreme passion. It's infectious. And it makes us want to lift, but it is passion, I think, at its purest form. I don't think
I love it. I just love it so much. You're so right. It is true passion, and I'm enjoying it. And it's a rush. It's a rush, and it takes over. Sometimes I do watch back at some videos. I'm like, whoa, like, damn, John, you were wild this day. But I have to remember I'm watching that video, let's say, at 6 a.m. with a cup of coffee, just woken up, relaxing in a peaceful state of mind.
Yeah.
I have to remind myself when I'm watching some of my old training videos and comp videos that at the time, it's a different mindset. At the time, I have an adrenaline rush. And, that adrenaline rush just takes over and you just react and you go with it. And that's what makes, the bar go over your head. So you're right. It's passion, man. I love what I do, and everybody should be that way. To a certain extent, no matter what you're doing in life, you should be passionate about it and let it show. Don't hold back and keep it inside you. We're so worried about what other people think.
Yeah.
Like, if I express myself for how passionate I am, if I express myself, especially dudes, right? They think they have to be all like manly, like they can't be like, this is exciting. Like, no, say that, feel that way, be that way, express yourself. Don't bottle everything inside. I think we do that too much as humans because we're so scared of what people are going to think and say. And I just went out there and I just let it out. Yeah, I got a lot of haters and people don't really understand, always cocky or arrogant. And like you said, Dylan, that is 100% not the case at all. I just really, really, really enjoy what I do, man. I love this sport. I love training.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that too. Speaking of that whole thing, Bill Burr has an amazing bit. We quote Bill Burr all the time, but he has this amazing bit that men drop dead at 50 because they spend their whole life not being able to admit a puppy's cute, right?
Yeah, right.
So on top of that,
men don't take baths. Take a shower, wipe it off, keep moving. I just saw that the other day.
Yeah. There's kind of a parallel with weight training and building up a career like you did, and what we're doing with podcasting in a way, in that we sort of put it off for a while because we had those same insecurities of we didn't want to embarrass ourselves. We didn't want it to be, we knew it was going to be a slow burn and we weren't that patient, whatever. And we kept putting it off and giving ourselves different excuses, right? How long did it take you to get to a point where you were able to just say, fuck it and go and be past all those things and just start going with your career?
Yeah, that's a good question. It happened. It really just happened. My first weightlifting competition. I remember just because I was kind of finding myself in training. And then when we first booked my first weightlifting comp back in 2006, I was like, okay, like, all right, we got it. This is the first one. So I remember, like, as I was prepping for the competition, I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. And I enjoy this tremendously. And it just started coming out. I remember my first weightlifting meet, I painted my face.
No.
Yeah. Oh, there's pictures of it. Yeah, I should post those.
You gotta send me
one.
one.
I started yelling in the back room, and just jumping up and down and just getting super amped up. And people are just like, "Who is this guy? This guy's crazy." And so it just kind of happened organically, that first weightlifting competition, because I just knew, right? I just knew I have found myself. I have found the path for my life. and being lost for so long. I had a drug problem as a kid growing up, and ran away from home multiple times. I was behind bars a few different times for certain things, and kind of a troubled upbringing. So when I found this meet and this weightlifting and this team at Sac State and all this kind of stuff, and I was like, and by the way, football was nothing like this. Football was like, I don't even know why I'm doing football. Football was like kind of going through the motions. And this was a completely different thing. So when I found it, I knew it. And that's what made me so excited. So I think anybody listening right now, when you find it, you just know, you're like, all right, this is what I'm going to do with my life. Like, this is the direction I'm going to go down. And everybody should be excited about that.
You must be a movie buff, because John showed up like Mel Gibson and Braveheart for that first meeting. Pain in the face and everything.
Yeah, I had paint. I had Braveheart face paint, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to talk bad about USAW or anything like that, but your passion did rub people the wrong way, I think, and you did end up getting suspended for 5 years. What was that like? Just tell us about that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So about that. So yes, I rubbed people the wrong way. But I did not get suspended by USAW. You know, the thing with me is me and USAW have always been extremely close. You know, there was a few people in USAW, some of the kind of older gentlemen that looked at this young kid. When I came on the scene, I was 21. 21. And, you know, it was, you know, looking back, I can kind of put myself in their shoes of, you know, I moved up the rankings pretty quickly. I was going to a lot of competitions. I was very different. I was pretty outspoken. And then eventually, of course, throughout the California Strength Days, when I turned professional and I created a podcast and the YouTube videos came out and all that, I had a voice and started creating a following. And that, you know, that led to me speaking my mind about a lot of things. And not coming at anybody, really just technique, life, philosophy. And for some reason, it seemed like there was a few people in USAW at the time that disagreed with me on a lot of things and didn't like what I was saying and kind of took it personal for some odd reason. And so there was some headbutting there, but I was never mean to anybody or never made anything personal. I just think that there was some tension there. But I like to make it clear to some people, because I did leave USAW for a few years. I started my own weightlifting federation, and I kind of did a few bodybuilding shows and went down a different path in life for a few years. Now I am back with USAW. But I like to make it really clear that me and USAW have always been very tight. 90% of everybody in USAW, even back then, we were all very close. What happened was, there was a bar slam issue that was kind of a civil war in weightlifting, where bar slamming was something that people did on stage.
Hold it. Come on. He's back.
145 stays on the bar.
And, you know, I kind of took it to the next level, and I loved a bar slam after a made lift, and they did not like it, and they kind of targeted me and targeted people that were on my team and in my corner, and that kind of led to a civil war. But long story short, I actually got banned by USADA for 2 years. You have to go in and update your address of where you live and where you train, like once a year. And I was in Australia doing a weightlifting seminar tour back in, I think it was 2014.
Right.
And maybe 2015. I can't remember. No, 2014. And I just forgot to go on, log into my account and update my address. And they gave me a 2-year ban for that. That was it.
That seems kind of extreme, doesn't it?
That's it. Now I will say, so you have 3 strikes and then you get a ban for 2 years.
Okay,
So
that's the third strike.
that was my third strike on just forgetting to basically go in and like update my address, or I had, I think my first strike was I forgot to update my whereabouts, whatever like that. But I never missed a drug test. That was it. It's that simple. I mean, it's on the internet. You can read it. It's that simple. And so they slapped me for a 2-year ban. But I let that 2-year ban run and re-signed, and we're all good to go. I competed in 19 and we're back.